My name is Chris Hayashida Knight, and I'll be reading an excerpt from What to the Slave is the 4th of July, written and delivered by Frederick Douglass in 1852 in Rochester, New York. The signers of the Declaration of Independence were brave men. They were great men, too, great enough to give fame to a great age. Your fathers staked their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor on the cause of their country. In their admiration of liberty, they lost sight of all other interests. This, for the purpose of this celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. This, to you, is what the Passover was to the emancipated people of God. It carries your minds back to the day and to the act of your great deliverance, and to the signs and to the wonders associated with that act and that day. What, to the American slave, is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciations of tyrants, brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity, are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on the earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. But, interpreted as it ought to be interpreted, the Constitution is a glorious liberty document. Read its preamble, consider its purposes. Is slavery among them? Is it at the gateway? Or is it in the temple? It is neither. Well, I do not intend to argue this question on the present occasion. Let me ask, if it be not somewhat singular that if the Constitution were intended to be, by its framers and adopters, a slaveholding instrument, why neither slavery, slaveholding, nor slave can anywhere be found in it? On the other hand, it will be found to contain principles and purposes entirely hostile to the existence of slavery.
My name is Vicky Rubio, and I'll be reading an excerpt from the Declaration of the Rights of Women, written by Susan B. Anthony and her peers in 1876 for an Independence Day ceremony in Philadelphia. It was the boast of the founders of the Republic that the rights for which they contended were the rights of human nature. If these rights are ignored in the case of one half the people, the nation is surely preparing for its downfall. Governments try themselves. The recognition of a governing and a governed class is incompatible with the first principles of freedom. Woman has not been a heedless spectator of the events of this century, nor a dull listener to the grand arguments for the equal rights of humanity. From the earliest history of our country, woman has shown equal devotion with man to the cause of freedom and has stood firmly by his side in its defense. Together, they have made this country what it is. Woman's wealth, thought, and labor have cemented the stones of every monument man has raised to liberty. And now, at the close of 100 years, as the hour hand of the great clock that marks the centuries points to 1876, we declare our faith in the principles of self-government, our full equality with man in natural rights. The woman was made first for her own happiness, with the absolute right to herself, to all the opportunities and advantages life affords for her complete development. And we deny that dogma of the centuries incorporated in the codes of all nations that woman was made for man, her best interests in all cases to be sacrificed to his will. We ask of our rulers at this hour no special favors, No special privileges, no special legislation. We ask justice. We ask equality. We ask that all the civil and political rights that belong to citizens of the United States be guaranteed to us and our daughters forever.